Hello, it is now 7:02 p.m. and a big welcome to you all to this week's edition of Community Conversation. I
Kennedy
am Jonelle.
Jones was. And I am C. Ron Allen.
We're back in the studio this week after broadcasting live from Fish Fry, downtown Delray Beach last week. We had such a great time being out in public again, though limited. There was a saxophone player playing jazz music. We had students from the Milagro Center, and everybody had such a great time.
That's right, Dina. What a great time we had last week. Man, we listened to the sounds of South Florida jazz musician Eric Akers. And as you said, there were members of the drum corps at Milagro Center and several Milagro Center students who entertained us with their artistic talents. Guess what? We also had several city officials to stop by. We had our vice mayor, rather, we had our mayor, Shelley Petrolia. We had our vice mayor, Shirley Johnson, and our police chief, Javaro Sims, who also presented a bike to the student of the month at Pine Grove Elementary. In fact, I'm being told that we have some highlights from the evening. Neil, take it away, please. Do we have the highlights, Neil? Okay, well, I guess we'll get back to that. All right, we'll get back to the highlights as soon as we have. Dina, we had a beautiful cake for the January baby, so start planning, folks, for the February gathering, which will be an evening of bingo. And I'm told that you will be treated to a meal of all you can eat. So all you can eat, I think it's going to be $25. You'll get all the food you can eat that night. A choice of three menus or three meals. What do you say? Three meals, three meats, three meat. I think chicken, fish, and um, ham, baked, uh, cow, whatever it is you need. But they say three, so I know the chicken is one, beef is chicken is one, fish is the next, and who knows, lamb, turkey, whatever. But there'll be a third one. Okay, so mark your calendar this month. That's going to be February 26th for the next Friday's Fish Fry. And I should point out that social distance protocol will be observed.
And that you shouldn't miss. A warm welcome to our friends who are joining us on KOP Mentoring Networks or Boca Raton Tribune's Facebook pages or on YouTube. And this segment of Community Conversation is brought to you by the generous donations of Healthier Delray Beach, Black's New Look Barbershop, Genuine Tax Services, DNA Total Fitness, Ezra Krieg, Marsha Eisenberg, and Doug Young. And thanks to our sponsors, we're able to bring you community conversation each week. So as you interact with your friends and neighbors, so please tell them to like our sponsors on Facebook and follow them on Instagram. We thank them so much for caring for our youth. So to learn more about how you can support our mentoring programs, call or text at 561-665-0151. That is 561-665-0151.
Okay, here at KOP, we believe that leadership training prepares youth to manage their time, to work in a team setting, set goals, start conversation, facilitate meetings, and make effective presentations, all of which are positive life skills that they will carry into adulthood. Please direct your attention to our friend Mr. John Maxwell for our Leadership Minute.
I've had a few occasions where I attended a ceremony that would honor someone for something great that they had done. Hi, John's my name. Welcome to Minute with Maxwell. And I'm sure you've had those occasions also. Perhaps it was at a graduation. Perhaps it was at a retirement where we began to not only pass out gold watches, but then begin to look back at a life that was really well lived in a career. Here's what I do know. When we receive honor, it's for something that we have done that is measurable and important, and people look to it and say, that did make a difference. I hope every one of you have had the opportunity, or will have soon the opportunity, of being honored for something with someone because you did something. But here's what I know. In the meantime, while you may be waiting for your day of honor, live each day working on respect. You see, respect is something I'm doing today that will give me honor tomorrow. So I want the respect of people today even more than I want the honor from people of yesterday. Now, you want them both, but I can tell you, you live a lot of good days and you treat those days and people with respect, and you do good works. And if they respect you along the way, your day of honor is coming. My name's John. Thanks for being with me today on Minute with Maxwell.
Thank you, Mr. Maxwell. And what we take away from that is live with honor. As usual, shout out to our friends in the Bahamas, Belize, Canada, Jamaica, Tobago, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. A special welcome to our new friends from the Santos Crew and Company listening from Cape Cod, Massachusetts, and Miss Winter and her crew from the 505. We're so happy you're hanging out with us, and we hope you'll be back next week. And please remember to share community conversation on your social media pages. If you miss a show, you can find it on Boca Raton Tribune or KOP Mentoring Network's Facebook pages.
Okay, Dina, just to add to that, I'm being told that we have some young ladies from Greater Mount Olive Missionary Baptist Church in Delray Beach. They're joining us tonight. I want to welcome you guys to Community Conversation. We also have Pompano Beach Middle School represented. And it's once, twice, 4 or 5 times from Pompano Beach Middle School. Anyway, it's great having you guys back. I'm also getting texts. Please, Mr. C-Ron, have him change that picture. So this is a notice to my producers. Please change that picture in the, I guess it's the one in the beginning of the segment. They would like to have that picture changed to, I guess they need something more young and vibrant and more handsome. Better yet, a more handsome photo of me. As one person said, that makes you look so aged. What do you mean by that? Make me look so aged. Okay. All right. Thank you, Miss W, for that. What else do we have? Greetings to our friend. We got that. Okay. But yes, where is Don Lemon? Where is Don Lemon? We want Don Lemon back. Okay. You have had enough of me, and over the last couple of weeks, I've been getting your texts. We've been getting your texts and your emails and your questions about Don Lemon. Daryl Don Lemon will be back next week in the big chair. So you will maybe see me, maybe not. But either way, he'll be back next week. Okay? That's enough for that. Tonight's program, folks, is produced by Miss Joneldina Bazoo, who's sitting here with me in the big chair tonight. She's a graduating senior at Atlantic Community High School in Delray Beach, as well as the Milagro Center. The man behind the videos video you just saw and the ones you'll see later in the show, he is our illustrious cinematographer, Neil Sunsky, Neil Noah, and I keep singing his praises, and you'll see why later in the show. And he's a proud product of KOP Mentoring Network and Village Academy, which is in Delray Beach, Florida, 33444. Our social media intern is Miss Jasmine Collins, and she's all the way up in Tallahassee. She's a sophomore at the Florida State University. And feel free to check out our social media pages to see her fine work. Speaking of Neil, as you know, this is Black History Month, and there's so many African Americans who have made their mark on this country, but very little is known of them. Please direct your attention to the screen.
Hensley Jones was born May 17, 1893, in Covington, Kentucky. When he was 9 years old, his mother passed away, forcing him to drop out of school and be raised by a priest until he was 16. During World War I, he was a sergeant and electrical engineer. During his time as an electrical engineer for the US military, he was able to install electricity for his camps. After being discharged from the military, he was hired to become an electrical engineer for Ultraphone Sound Systems by Joseph A. Numero. There, he was able to make the first movie projector that was able to play sound. In 1939, Jones made an automatic ticket dispenser, which he patented and sold to RCA. One day, Jones would have a conversation with an upset truck driver. The truck driver's delivery of chicken had unfortunately spoiled after the ice kept on melting. From there, Jones was able to create the first refrigeration system for trucks and railroad cars. Mr. Jones and Numero would later create the company U.S. Thermo Control Company, which would later be renamed Thermo King, which is still in business to this day. Unfortunately, Frederick McKinley Jones did pass away at the age of 67 on February 21st, 1961 in Minneapolis, Minnesota, to lung cancer. Much of the produce and non-perishables that you buy in the stores are able to be shipped to said stores because of Mr. Jones's invention, so please give a warm thank you to Mr. Jones's ingenuity and creativity. Fun fact, Frederick McKinley Jones actually became the first African American to receive the National Award of Technology.
Okay, I guess I muted myself there, Dina. Okay. Oh, Mr. John. Dina, can you send Mr. John the link, please? Somehow he is, I erred in not sending him the link.
All right, will do.
What we're going to do in the meantime, Neil, do you have the footage for Thursday night, for last Friday night ready? Let's go ahead and do that while we get Mr. John in, please. Okay, while Neil does. So Dina, talk to me. You are in the process. Neil, bring in Don Lemon, please. Bring in Daryl. Let me speak to him in the meantime.
Hi, everyone.
So Daryl, how are things going with you?
Great so far, sir. How are you?
You're in the process. You both are in the process of applying for colleges. How is that coming along?
Well, it is a bit nerve-wracking because in the process of applying for colleges, you also have to keep wary of scholarships that are out there, and a lot of the times, especially at this segment of high school, we're just getting small amounts of awards, so it's a bit nerve-wracking.
How about you, Dina?
The process is similar, especially writing those essays and keeping track with everything that's out there and take advantage of those scholarships.
Okay. Where have you, Daryl, you've applied to quite a few colleges. Where have you heard from so far?
I've heard from the University of Miami, gotten accepted, University of Central Florida, Florida Southern University, and FAU. Those are the 4 that I've gotten acceptance letters from so far. And for the rest that I've applied to, there are Yale, Howard, New York University, and Vanderbilt.
Okay. Now, you said University of Florida, you said FAU, Miami. What about the agriculture school up in Tallahassee? You haven't applied to them?
Oh, no, sir.
Say again?
No, sir.
No, why? Because they're black school? You don't want to go to a black school?
No, sir, that's not the reason. I did apply to
Why?
Howard.
Because they're agriculture school? Why?
because I have to take a focus on the journalism, so I have to look for schools that have
Because you have to do what?
take a. Can you? Oh, let me take.
Yeah, please. I'm straining to hear you, man. I can hear Dino quite well. Come on now.
Okay, I want to do journalism and political science, and I need to make sure I apply to schools that have
Oh,
strong programs under those, and can also access internships and or paid work experiences.
you want to do journalism? Oh, interesting. That is so rewarding to see that this young man joined this program, and now his mind is made up. He want to be a journalist. That's good. I'm
Yes,
happy
sir.
to hear that. So, what about Howard? I know you had planned to go to Howard. Have you reconsidered? Have you heard from them? Did you apply? What's the status on that?
I have applied. It's just taking a bit of time because for those that are not aware, Howard is not traditional in the way they do the admissions. Normally, you have an admissions portal on the college website where you can check on your status. They have to personally email you. So I just have to wait to see how that transgresses.
Okay. So, you've heard from 3 in Florida so far, and 1 up the road.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. And Dina, who have you heard from so far?
I'm waiting for most of my this application decisions, but I have heard from the FAU Honors College. They're like a rolling admission, but
You're up in Jupiter, am I correct?
Yes, in Jupiter. And I'll be
Yep.
hearing from most of the colleges in February, like this month, and in March.
Okay. And let me just say, for you young ladies and gentlemen out there who are waiting, letters of reference from me, I have not forgotten you. I have been, I think this week I wrote 6. I'm on my 7th one right now. And between that and reading your essays, I am going to get to you. Miss Nia Brown, I have not forgotten you, darling. You're up next. And I know Miss Mitha has been burning up my phone, but I have not forgotten you guys. You will be getting your letters this week. In fact, before the weekend ends, I'll be sending your letter your way, and the essays I'll be sending those out before Monday as well. Okay, Mr. John, Neil, you ready for us? Okay, Neil is ready with the video. Let's show some footage from Friday night's fish fry, if you will, Neil. I think we're starting with the vice mayor of with the mayor of Delray Beach. You have no sir. Okay, Neil. Okay, Mr. John, bring Mr. John in, Neil. Computers, if it can go wrong, it will go wrong. Brother John, how are you, good brother?
Doing well, brother. How are you?
Another great day out Florida, man. Let me apologize, man. You know, I just had so much going on today. A busy day. It was a very busy day for me, but somehow we failed to connect earlier. But you're with us now, and
Absolutely. I'm glad that
man.
the weather warmed up some. It was a little nippy, man. It was a little nippy.
What are you talking about, man? I love that. Come on now.
It's a little cold. Had to pull out the coat, man.
Yeah, boy. Bring it on, bring it on, bring it on, John. You know, along with focusing on the cultural heritage and history that we observe this month, this year, John, has made history as a country. You know, we elected our first Black vice president, and we seen in Georgia has elected its first Black senator. The current 117th Congress includes 57, am I right? 57 Black representatives, a record high. Isn't that something, brother?
It is. It's a sign of you know, how far we've come along as a country and as a society, and then it also shows that we still have a little ways to go. When you think of how big Congress is, the House and with the Senate, and so it's definitely encouraging, and it's definitely also encouraging that not only do we have more Black representation, but we also have representation in the highest of the courts, highest of the lands that are also coming from HBCUs as well. So that's also important that, that historically Black colleges and universities can show that, hey, we got people too, just as Harvard and Princeton and all of those colleges have gone on, and to have representation in the Congress that, HBCUs can say, hey, Howard has the vice president, and so I think that's also encouraging as well.
Okay. Now I'm getting a few messages saying they're having challenges on Facebook. If you're having challenges on Facebook, if you're having challenges with the Boca Raton Tribune website, you may want to try KOP website. If not, try the YouTube link. But Neil, they're having challenges with the Facebook site. I'm not sure what's going on there with that. But John, on a more somber note, the ongoing coronavirus pandemic has peeled back layers in our society that has exposed a systemic inequities within our communities. We see where Black, Latino, and Native Americans, many frontline workers, many people on the front line, are being infected at a higher rate than whites. According to
And less
CDC,
access to the vaccine as well. So, the Black and brown communities have also had, less access to the vaccine based on the numbers of people that have been vaccinated in this country. So that's,
what I'm also hearing too is got people in Tallahassee, calling up their loved ones down here. They're making some phone calls and their loved ones down here. You're talking about 25, 30, 40-year-old people getting the hookup, and how does that work? What's happening? I thought the older folks were the ones supposed to be getting this vaccine right now.
I do know that that there are other capabilities, whether people are getting it through Publix, but I know that most of those individuals are still healthcare workers, and so I know that the idea is for individuals 65 and up to get access to the vaccine quicker, because those are the individuals that are more likely to get sick from the COVID-19. And so, but yeah, I mean, you got people that are well connected that are able to, to essentially skip line and get the vaccine. And then some of the ones that really need it are still, waiting and waiting for that vaccination to happen. So
it's a crying shame. But what this fact reveals is that focus on the history of the Black community should be an ongoing process, though. Not to get on my soapbox again, but having one month to focus brings attention and awareness. Neil and I were talking about this last night, and darn it, we're gonna change this thing. They say Black History is the month of February. Starting this month, Neil, tell them we're gonna change that. Yes, that is good. But elected officials, let's go back to the folks we sent to Washington, to Congress, and even locally, and our community leaders, hint, hint, the media and others, including you who are listening at home. You must continue to maintain and commit to dialogue that can lead to racial inequities being broken down over time. And I need for you guys to start observing Black history 365. Yes, Miss W, I know we do this 365 every day, but many people aren't, John, observing
and absolutely,
Black history 365.
It is comforting, at least, that that Congress was able to pass a budget that will allow for a bill to be brought forward to hopefully provide more COVID relief funding for families that are in need. And so, yeah, I think that's kind of the next step. And then hopefully, in the future, people that need that relief, because the jobs, I think we only added 49,000 jobs. So the jobs have been slow to come back from COVID as well. So I absolutely agree with you that, these inequities in the people that are more affected with the virus are not even the ones that are able to get the vaccine. And a lot of those are frontline workers and a lot of people in the Black and brown communities.
Yeah, I'm getting your texts out here. A lot of people are texting John, telling us that they have people getting their hookup at local Publix and other places, and they are not old enough. Anyway, it seems a simple misunderstanding that all Americans should have the ability to be as darn healthy as possible. But as we're seeing, the pandemic rages on, folks. This is not the case and will be a red flag in our history. Trust me, this will be a red flag in history. This is not an equal society as we claim it is. So, John, what else on your mind, brother?
Man, just happy it's Black History Month. Yeah, just plugging away, man, trying to stay safe myself, and so looking forward to Super Bowl weekend. It's a little different than in years past where everyone would get together and, have Super Bowl parties. So I'll get together with a couple of folks and, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Got two people on the Tampa Bay Bucks from my alma mater, North Carolina Central University. So I'm looking forward to see what they do in the Super Bowl. But yeah, outside of that, man, just trying to stay safe in these streets, really.
Yep, I'm being told that St. John Missionary Baptist Church is one of the sites for vaccine 65 and older at this time and frontline workers. So, okay.
I would like a quick plug, Brother C. Ron, about the Alphas, the Omicron Epsilon Lambda chapter is having a go to high school, go to college event on February 27th. Next time, I would make sure we have a graphic that we can show for next week.
Yep.
But did want to shout that out as everyone in the Palm Beach County should start getting information regarding it. But we're excited about the go to high school, go to college event. And yeah, we're just pubbing 4 great institutions and trying to get our young people excited about applying for college and making that next step from high school to college. So it's February 27th, and we'll provide more information to our listeners in the future regarding that particular event, but did want to do a quick plug.
What institutions are you?
Yeah. So the institutions we have are going to be
What
Florida
institutions
Memorial.
are you inviting down?
Yeah, so it'll be a Zoom event, and we'll have Florida Memorial University,
John?
Florida A&M University, Bethune-Cookman, and Florida Atlantic University.
Yeah.
Brother, I think I lost you. We can't hear you.
Three very good universities and agricultural
Yeah, brother, you're still breaking up, Dina.
All right, could you repeat the universities that you'll be having?
We'll have an opportunity
the universities
to see
that we'll have
fine
are,
recruiters from
Florida Memorial, Florida A&M, Bethune-Cookman, and Florida Atlantic University. And so we'll have a couple of representatives from those institutions. Then we'll also have a couple of brothers from Alpha Phi Alpha in those from those schools as well, to talk about college life and everything related to college, to try to get our youth in the Palm Beach County area excited about going to school. And then we hopefully have a couple of parents that'll be there as well, so we can encourage our young Black people, young Black males in particular, to take that next step. Oh,
that is great. What age groups are you targeting?
So we're targeting. We're going to be targeting high schoolers. We plan to provide scholarships as well and a couple of giveaways. But the idea is that we're targeting individuals that hopefully in the next 1 to 2 years will be going to college, And we're hoping that this is a jam-packed event. It's going to be on Zoom, so hopefully we can pack it out to over 100 people. And, next week on Community Conversation, I'll make sure Neil has a little flyer that we can post up as one of the things to show our viewers so they can get more information on the event.
All right, definitely. We'll have more on that for you guys. It's sophomores and juniors, so stay tuned.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. John, for being with us tonight and sharing all your wisdom with us.
Absolutely.
Okay, am I back?
Yes, you're back.
So Neil. Okay, I'm back. I think I was attacked by the rattlers. I was attacked by the rattlers. Yeah. So Neil, the floor is yours. Show us some of that clip from Friday night, please.
Village to make this happen. Okay, I want to acknowledge a few people here tonight. Y'all are special.
Not sure what's going
but
on.
We have protocol dictates that we have our mayor, Mayor Shelley Petrolia, with us tonight. I think I saw Vice Mayor Shirley Johnson with us. Commissioner Adam Frankel sends his regards. He will be joining us later on, but he just sent his regards earlier. We have our Chief of Police here. You'll hear from him later in the evening. And speaking of Chief of Police, I'll get more into this later on, but just want to thank the ladies and gentlemen from the Delray Beach Police Department for partnering up with us on this venture. You'll hear more from me later on. I'll be broadcasting live in a few minutes, so I'm going to have to jet out of here. But what I'm going to do before we turn the microphone back over to the sounds of Mr. Eric Akers, South Florida's finest when it comes to jazz, I'm going to turn the microphone over to our mayor, Mayor Shelley Petrolia, for a few words, please.
Thank you so much. Great to be here, everyone, and this is really exciting, and I understand that this is just the beginning, the start of something in the future for the young people in this area, and I'm so excited to be here before you, and hopefully we'll be able to do this again and again and again. This is amazing. What a beautiful space, beautiful music, and just an absolutely stellar night. Thank you to all the gentlemen and women in the blue. Thank you all for coming out and supporting this, and also the city and everybody else who was responsible, and KOP mentoring as well. So great to be here. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mayor. Vice Mayor Shirley Johnson, please.
I'm not presumptuous. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to just social distance, and try not to do something not good. I'm double masked, so I know you couldn't hear me ordinarily. Thank you very much. Trying not to contaminate the microphone. Anyhow, isn't this wonderful? We are in the best place in the world. I don't care what the other places look like. Delray Beach is the place to be. I was told we're the 10th most popular place in the world. Can you believe that? Yay! I'm just so excited. This has been a long time coming. When I was a young girl, this used to be nothing but commercial buildings, a grocer, I think. The history of this location is just marvelous, and I feel so privileged to be standing here doing this with all of you. So have a good evening, have a good year, and what a difference a day makes, and I'll be so happy when all of us can say, I have had my vaccination. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Congratulations to KOPMN.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to acknowledge my bosses, my board members, Mr.
30 years of reaching out to youth as we see here this evening, making a positive difference in their life, exposing them to situations and things they would never otherwise be exposed to. That says a lot for the KOP program. But also, I want to thank Milagro. Because they do an amazing, outstanding job with our youth as well. So I'd like to personally say thank you, C-Ron and Milagro Center. And the real reason I'm here is I want to present to Mr. Lou DeLeese. Mr. DeLeese is our student of the month. Now this young man, he may be a good athlete, but that's not why he's standing here. He's standing here because he's doing the things that's needed and necessary in the classroom. He attends Pine Grove Elementary. He deserves a round of applause. And his reward is not only receiving this certificate, but also he has a selection or option to choose one of those bicycles. Donated from the Delray Beach Police Department. Get your bike. He likes that green, it's loud. Also, we have a gift for the father. 50 pounds of grocery and 25 pounds of chicken as part of the reward. As you can see, KLP is not only taking care of the kids, they're taking care of the families as well. And that's what Delray is all about. Delray is all about family. We take care of one another. We ensure that we have the things that we need to survive here in the city of Delray Beach. And we do that collectively. That's the only way that can be done. So I'd like to say thank you. Thank you to this young man here. And from the Delray Beach Police Department, thank you.
Wow, what an amazing event, Daryl.
You know, Dina.
There, look.
Dina.
Yes.
Let me just say, we just had our chief of police on. Folks, let me just report this. I just had to call the West Palm Beach office of the FBI to report that I have been attacked by the Rattlers. Getting phone calls and emails here from folks saying Rattlers don't attack, they strike. Well, whatever you guys did, you guys have been attacking my system all evening just because I spoke the truth. So I rest my case. Daryl, Dina, have a good evening, and I'm going to be speaking to the cops in a few minutes.
Okay, sir. You have a good one.
All right.
A good one. Wow. That was an amazing event. I wish I was there. Were you there, Daryl?
No, unfortunately. I wish I was, though, because it seems like it was exciting.
The food, everyone, the music, the drumming.
Definitely. It seems like even though we're in a weird place with the pandemic, they seem to at least bring the livelihood back. Not surprising, though. It's KOP after all. All right, let's take it away.
Well, throughout the month, we'll be taking a look at some local Black legends whose imprints are still on the fabric of this enclave we know as Delray Beach. Tonight, we'll hear about someone who is still used widely around the city. That is none other than the Charles Spencer Pompey.
It was called shucking the bushes, a term used by Black people who came of age during the dark days of segregation. It meant to stir things up and took no small amount of courage during those times. One of those that shook a lot of shrubbery in his days was Mr. Pompey, longtime educator, historian, and activist in Delray Beach, described by his contemporaries as deliberate, humble, but doggedly determined and fiercely proud.
And he was also one of the 3 Black teachers who began a class action lawsuit in 1942, suing the Palm Beach County School Board and its superintendent over a 25 per month pay disparity between white and black teachers. And the future Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall, then a young NAACP lawyer, tried the case and won. Mr. Pompey fought to open Delray Beach white-only beach to blacks in the 1950s. He also pushed for the first organized recreation programs for the city's black children. Pompey Park in Northwest Delray Beach is named in his honor.
He pressed city fathers to install streetlights, sidewalks, and paved streets in black neighborhoods. Over a 40-year career, he taught social studies at the formerly all-black Carver High School and a handful of other county schools, then became Carver's basketball, track, and football coach, then its principal. And by his own soft-spoken example, he taught generations of black children the importance of voting, achievement, equality, respect to those who knew them, he said. He would give students extra credit if their parents, as they should, voted on election day.
Exactly. In later years, he became a bridge across the dividing line of Swanton Avenue, blacks on the west, whites on the east, using his institutional knowledge to teach people on both sides that a great long distance had been traversed, and that together people can go farther. Joining us is someone I have been speaking with almost every day last year and did not know he was one of our former city commissioner, Jimmy L. Weatherspoon. Thank you for joining us tonight on Community Conversation.
Well, thank you, Dina. It's my pleasure. And let me give a shout out to you guys for honoring Mr. C. Spencer Pompey, a man among men, if you will.
Oh, yes. And as you just heard, too many around town, Mr. Pompey is remembered as a longtime educator, a civil rights activist, and a humanitarian. You know, when you think of him, what memories come to mind for you?
Well, when I think of Mr. Pompey, quite a few memories come to mind. First and foremost, I would say he was a son, a brother, a husband, a father, and a friend. One memory comes to mind that really resonates with me is the fact that he was born in Live Oak, Florida, and he was a caregiver to his mother. Both he and two of his brothers decided among themselves, rather than to put his mother into a nursing home, they each would take a month to go and live with her and take care of her until she died. So he was certainly a dedicated family person, if you will, and that's something that my brothers and I kind of modeled when my mother reached that stage in her life as well.
And that is showing his service to the people in his community.
Absolutely, absolutely.
He was highly respected by many in the community, so much that the city named a recreational center after him. Why was he so revered?
Well, I guess because of his dedication to the community at large, and to the Black community in particular. He gave up himself entirely, unselfishly, a lot of his personal time to make lives and better for those in the community in which he lived. And so those are just a few of the things that he did within the community, that why people, thought so much of him on both sides of the track, if you will.
So, Mr. Witherspoon, to elaborate on our conversation, you played football for Mr. Pompey at then Carver High School. Take us back to those days. How was Mr. Pompey as a coach?
Well, as a coach, he was very firm, but he was committed. I only played for him 1 year of my tenure at Carver High School, which was my sophomore year. But one of the things I remember mostly about him was his dedication to the cause. And the other thing was that he knew not only the children that played for him, but he knew the families as well. So they formed a great bond. And one of the other thing I recall about practice time was. Every day near the end of the practice session, he at that time none of us liked it, but as we grew older, we knew why he did it. He would say, "Okay, run this play one more time." And what he would do, he would go tell the offense, the quarterback what play he wanted to run, but then he would go over there and tell the defensive lineman, "Okay, now they're going to run. They're coming right here. This is where they're coming. I want you to stop it." And so obviously, it made it harder for the offensive lineman to make the block if you already know where you're going to try to run. And so, but it made both of the players that was in that position better players because now they practice harder and to do the job, if you will. But he was a great coach. He had a great sense of humor, but he was a disciplinarian as well.
So for an elaboration for our international viewers, we're talking about American football, not soccer as it's termed here. Just a little sidetrack because it took me a while to separate the two. So just looking out for everyone. Okay, so going on, sir. When you decided to seek public office, you asked Mr. Pompey to serve as your campaign manager. What was it about him that led you to ask him to run your campaign?
Good question. I was fortunate enough to grow up on the same street in which he lived. So I had been knowing Mr. Pompey for many years, his wife and the whole family. And I also was aware of the many accomplishments that he had accomplished throughout the years within our community. And I liked his dedication and his honesty, if you will. When I went to him to ask him to be my campaign manager, one of the things he said to me that even reemphasized the fact that he wanted, to give me the best chance to win. He told me that, that he wanted me to think about what I was asking him. And the reason was that, even though there was a lot of people that liked him and, the things he accomplished, there was also a lot of people who did not like him. So he didn't want to be a stumbling block or a reason for me not being able to have won the election, if you will. But my mind was made up. I knew that he was the man for the job, and time certainly panned that out for me. And so that's why I chose him, because of his character, of course, of his contacts, at that time, and even today I would submit that a Black person running for elected office in Delray Beach in 1984 could not have won a seat without support of the white counterparts. And I knew that he had contacts on both sides of Swinton Avenue. And he was well respected. Even though my name, my family name was well respected and well known, I still needed him in order to make it happen.
So, sir, to go further onto your background, you've served as city commissioner for 3 terms now. What were some of your highlights and your top 3 accomplishments that come to mind that you're proud of?
Well, one of the advantages that I had as a city commissioner in Delray Beach was, in which a lot of my fellow commissioners do not have, I grew up in the city of Delray Beach. No one had to tell me what the problems that needed to be addressed, in particular in our community. And so with that being said, the first thing I had to do was get the respect and the support of my fellow commissioners. Most people don't realize it, when they elect the person, that person only has 1 vote. So there was 5 of us. And so in order for me to get anything done that I wanted to be done, or my colleagues, other members wanted done, I had to get at least 2 other votes. So I got the respect of them, of course. And of course, there was a lot of things that needed to be addressed. But one of the first things that I did was and was successful in doing, was get a traffic light installed at Northwest and Southwest 12th Avenue. For years, we have been having accidents and people getting hurt, and there was some 1 or 2 deaths on West Atlantic Avenue and 12th Avenue. And the county had kept saying, well, the traffic count study is not, is not enough, not for traffic. So I was able to convince my commissioners that, and they agreed that we needed it, and they went to the county and said, okay, well, if you install it, we will pay for it. We being the city. And that's how we got that traffic light that you see that's there now, as a result of my efforts in that regard. Another big problem we had in our community was flooding in our communities. Northwest 8th Avenue, Jefferson Manor, Ponce Anna. Every time we had in the major rains, flood, water everywhere. So again, I was able to champion an effort. We ended up going to Tallahassee, talking to the, because the Lake Worth Drainage District had decided they were not going to allow any more cities to discharge any water into Lake Ida. But with the support of our commissioners, we went to Tallahassee, and we were successful in lobbying the legislators. And needless to say, we do not have any drainage problems on Northwest 8th Avenue, Ponce Anna, or Jefferson Manor anymore as a result of that. Another thing was in regard to, we passed a $30 million revenue bond, which most people don't realize that back in 1984, 1985. And as a result of that, those monies that we was generated was the catalyst of the development that you see downtown Delray Beach now. That was a bond that had to be passed by the voters, the people who lived in the city. So of course, I was a supporter, was able to get the Black people to also support that revenue bond. And that was a major accomplishment because, that means that they were going to have to pay higher taxes in order to pay that money back. And so we are reaping the benefit of that today. We also established the Community Development Agency, an agency that made money funds available for blighted areas and businesses within in cities. That CRA was established during my tenure as a city commissioner. And even to date, that organization is still doing work. It has not panned out as greatly as we have hoped it would have in our communities per se, but it's still there, and monies are still, and they're still doing things both downtown, I should say East Atlantic Avenue, as well as West Atlantic Avenue.
Congratulations for those achievements as well.
Thank you.
And my last question for you tonight is that there was a period that you actually played an integral role in the chapter of KOP. Tell us about that time.
Oh, yeah, and that's going way back now. I was the worship master of Delray Beach Masonic Lodge 275, which your current, my former colleague, C. Ron Allen, was also a member of that lodge. And of course, we established the KOP chapter in the Masonic Order way back when, as C. Ron would tell you. And we had the normal challenges of sustainability, getting funds, getting brothers to be able to support it and maintain it. My son and several of my cousins, they came up through that organization as well. But as the leadership changed, because I was a worship master, so of course I had a little more say-so in directing where funds were spent, etc. But as the leadership changed over the years, of course, that sustainability of the organization faded away. But I'm happy that Brother C. Ron, they say there's always a ram in the bush. Brother C. Ron Allen, he picked up the mantle. He sought private sector support. And as a result of that, the organization has grown to what it is today. And I would like to say hats off to Brother C. Ron for the many hours that he's dedicated to the organization and the many youths whose lives that this organization has touched and will touch in the future.
Thank you so much, Mr. Witherspoon. Have a
My
great
pleasure.
night. Thank you again. It was a pleasure interviewing you.
Thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you for sharing so much about Mr. Pompey, making us all feel what he was like as a person. Those of us who were not alive when he was around.
That's right.
Thank you so much.
You are quite welcome, Tina. My pleasure.
All right. Well, folks, this will about do it for this week's edition of Community Conversation. We hope you learned something tonight that will make a significant impact on your life this year. Young people, there is no greater investment you can make on a Friday night than being with like-minded peeps on Community Conversation.
Thank you to all of our guests for participating in enlightening us. And a big sincere shout out to the Boca Raton Tribune for simulcasting us on Facebook and YouTube. A special thanks to our sponsors, Healthcare Delray Beach, Blanc New Look Barbershop, DNA Total Fitness, Jeff Stern CPA, Wellness Financial, Roots and Wings, Ezra Krieg, Marsha Eisenberg, and Bill Gill.
Dina, before you wrap up, I'm always I like to stay in the background, but I have a major announcement to make. I'm not going to make it this week. It's going to be a major announcement in addition to our family, but I'm going to do it next week. So I want you guys to be on the edge of your seats as we wait another week. But I'm just so excited. I'm just so excited. I can't wait. But there's going to be a very pleasant announcement addition to the family. Okay. I have good news for you guys. You guys been trying for a long time, make Mr. C. Ron happy, and Mr. C. Ron has some good news to make next week on next week's show. So make sure you tell your friends and tell your neighbors and tell your family members. Make sure they join in. Mr. C. Ron has an announcement to make next week. I may do it at the beginning of the show. You just don't know. Okay. Still have 2 minutes, Daryl. So. But thank you, Dina. Thank you, Daryl. You guys did well. And after the show, let's reconvene on WebEx so we can do our wrap up. Okay, after action.
All right.
Take it home, Daryl.
You like suspense, Daryl?
Yeah, a little, but I'm kind of excited to find out what he's talking about. We'll just have to tune in and see next week. All right, Dina.
As we wrap up tonight's session, we leave you with this message.
A mask can say a lot about the person who wears it. But even more about the person who doesn't.
Repeating again, wear your mask. Things might seem calm right now, but stay vigilant and be very in tune with what's going on this month, Black History Month as it is. Celebrate on memory and on history. Be safe and ending on perfect timing. Have a good weekend.
Information. If it exists in writing, we print it. If it exists online, we update it. If it exists on mobile, we notify. If it exists in video, we show it. If it exists in audio, we play it. In the past, the news had to wait for a paper to print for it to happen. Today, news happens in real time. It's analyzed, edited, and published immediately by us, your neighbors, and of course, you. Wherever you are, you write, edit, give opinions, share photos, and make the news happen. This is why a paper needs to be on print, on screen, and on your phone. Wherever you are, your news has its pulse in the community. The Boca Raton Tribune. We are much more than just a newspaper. We are your closest neighbor.